At the same time, we need to promote the economic growth. So the government finally decided that the low carbon green growth is the only way for Korea to meet these energy and the climate issues, and at the same time keep on growing. Okay. The overseas energy source dependence ratio 97%, and Korea ranked fourth in petroleum import and the sixth among OECD countries in CO2 emission, and the first in terms of growth rate, CO2 emission growth rate. For the past 10 years, CO2 emission actually doubled for the past 10 years. And the environmental sustainability index, South Korea is ranked 122nd, one of the worst case. And the potential growth rate of South Korea is about 4%. Is now less than 4%. As you know, in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, average growth rate was about 8% annually. So now it's about half of that, and it's going down now. So Korea needs to find a new growth engine. And the job situation is very bad in Korea, and unemployment rate for especially the college graduate is very high. These days, college graduates is a very difficult time to get a job at their graduate. So we have to meet all these issues at the same time. So the government suggested low carbon green growth vision. So every government agencies are talking about green growth these days. So this is the most important, the key issues in Korea nowadays. Energy imports in last year, the energy imports shared 1/3 of total import in Korea. It's about $1,400,000. $141.5 billion. Okay. And the Middle East dependence of crude oil is 87%. The amount of energy import was not changed much. It's about the same, but because of the increase in the price of the energy sources, Korea should have paid much more than before. In terms of energy consumption, Korea is 10th. And in terms of oil consumption, Korea ranks 7th in the world. And LNG import just next to Japan, coal import just next to Japan. So it's the second in the world. The power consumption, 10th in the world. So energy is very important in Korea, and energy independent or the energy conservation is one of the most important issues in Korea. Country ranking of environmental sustainability index, as I mentioned before, Korea ranked 122nd. If we compare Japan and Korea, Japan ranks 30th. Environmental quality, well, environmental quality Japan is not so good. Okay. The pollution load well, also Japan is not so good, but vulnerability to environmental risk, 6/7. Here, here's some difference. So, social institutional capacity, Japan is very good. And global burden share, Japan ranks 10th, but Korea is 78. So that means Korea should do more efforts to reduce the global warming issues. This is 3 strategies and policy directions of low carbon green growth policy. This long-term plan and the 5-year plan was announced this July. The strategy 1 is measures for climate change and securing energy independence. The first policy direction is reduce carbon emission. The Four River restoration project, which is under fierce contest by the minority party, is included here. The first the policy direction, reduce carbon emission. The government announced that they will spend $5 billion annually for 4 years. So in 4 years, $20 billion will be spent to restore 4 rivers, to increase the water resources and to reduce the water pollution and to prepare against the flood damage, and to provide the pathways for bicycles throughout the whole country. Second strategy is creation of new growth engines. Okay. The fourth policy direction is develop green technology. The 5th is greening of industry. The 6th is develop cutting-edge industries. These are like robots or nanotech or bio or high-valued service industries. So the government chose 3 areas and 17 new engines. These are included in strategy 2. And the 7th is set up policy infrastructure for green growth. Strategy 3 is to improve the quality of life and strengthen the status of the country through this low carbon green growth policy. Construction of green city and green transport, green revolution in lifestyle. Through all these efforts, South Korea wants to enhance national status as a global leader in green growth. And fourth reason for green campus initiatives is that university itself is a heavy energy users. Universities consume 14% of institutional energy consumption, and out of 45 heavy energy using institutions, 7 were universities. 7 were included in the 45 heavy energy using institutions. Korea imports 97% of energy from overseas, So we need to reduce energy consumption and also diversify energy sources from fossil fuel based to non-fossil fuel or non-carbon based energy sources. And also to meet the requirement of a Kyoto Protocol. We need to also reduce the CO2 emission. So we have to meet the additional requirements. First is Seoul National University, and actually Seoul National University was ranked 5th among 45 institutions.